Kanye visits the White House and SNL mocks the madness. Taylor Swift gets political and Trump and Fox and Friends responds. Selena Gomez back in rehab. How has MeToo changed Hollywood? Fire Disney Marvel producer to be hired by Warner Brothers? All this and more on Meet the Hollywood Press for October 14th, 2018. I'm Alina Vission, and now your host of Meet the Hollywood Press, Joseph Kapsch.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Meet the Hollywood Press. Welcome back, Alina.
Nice to see you. Happy Sunday.
How was your weekend?
It was great, but I always enjoy Sunday Fun Day here with all of you guys, the beautiful people.
We need to get that like a hashtag, hashtag MTHP
Sunday Fun Day. Yes.
And first, I want to introduce my guest who we've been playing, what do you call it when we're trying to schedule it?
Like, is that E-tag? I want to be technologically correct.
Yes.
E-tag, maybe?
E-tag. We're playing E-tag to get KJ.
Yeah, E-tag.
KJ Matthews, welcome to the Meet the Hollywood Press table.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
I'm honored to have you. KJ is who viewers know, Anita Bennett. They are friends, and I've always been trying to get KJ, and she's always busy. This woman's busy.
Yes.
You're working with the BBC now?
BBC, Germany's DW English Network, Australia's ABC, and then before that, obviously, Extra and CNN, and list goes on and on.
The list goes on.
Right.
Well, to borrow from your line on text this week when you said, you international girl, like Pitbull. Alina used that this week because we got this email, and then we'll jump into the stories. We got this email where it was like, you're charting on Apple Podcasts, and I get all excited, not realizing that it was like in Tunisia.
Oh, God.
So Alina's making crack up because she goes, oh, we international.
Right.
Right.
As they say on the gram, if they're all in Algeria, it doesn't count. Where are your followers? That's what we need to know.
Oh my God. So let's just jump in here because I am loving that we are a Sunday show now because SNL's back, and it's like we always have something to talk about. And by the way, some of our entertainment, which would be considered competitors, don't get to really. They don't go live on Sundays, so we get a leg up. But anyway, oh my God. So obviously for viewers, Kanye visited the White House this week, and coincidentally, collective sigh from the world.
Yes.
But ironically or coincidentally, whichever you choose, it was Mental Health Awareness Day this week, so it's kind of a good week that
for him.
Yes.
For him.
For him to go visit. So obviously we know that he went into this monologue during the visit, which was
I think
the
Oval Office.
In the Oval Office, that I watched it twice before the show, and I don't know still what was discussed.
It was another train wreck. Is what it was.
I do pray for Kanye. I just want to always preemptively say I pray for Kanye here because mental illness is no joke. But okay, so let's just roll the tape because SNL obviously had a field day. So let's roll the tape, then we'll come back.
All right.
I want to show y'all a picture, all right, of an airplane, okay, on my iPhone, and let me put the passcode in 0000000. I'm a genius.
His password is 6 zeros? Well, at least now I feel a lot better about my password, 80085, a.k.a. boobs.
Okay, here's a picture of a new plane. I want this to be your new Air Force One.
Wow, very cool indeed. Where's the plane?
It's invisible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. And who is that?
That's Wonder Woman.
Okay. Maybe we should order your lunch from a pharmacy.
Hilarious.
That was my favorite. Order your lunch from pharmacy.
What a way to open.
Right? Yeah. Well, this was Alec Baldwin, by the way's return as Donald Trump, because they've had a couple episodes and he just returned, and what a perfect one. But obviously, as the sketch went on, it was Donald Trump realizing, or Alec as Donald, that Kanye was the black him.
Right.
He's, oh my God, it's the black me. I guess what I want to start off, because it's obviously, there's SNL, and I think you were saying this off camera, has an easy job of it right now because it's a heightened sense of reality.
It's the Trump administration, and every week we are given gifts as journalists.
Yes, we sure are.
That's basically what we are, so it's our job just to respond to that, and I don't think it's as hard as it was under the Barack Obama administration.
Let me ask this then, because this is going to be the first question. So I want to skip, moving from SNL, because we know it was but talking about the real actual visit here. Do you think that Kanye, as this vessel with, Omarosa supposed to have been the African American outreach
highest ranking
official. Do you think that Kanye helps or hurts Trump with African Americans?
I think he hurts it, but guess what? Trump doesn't really bring people who I think are highly qualified, impactful African Americans into the White House anyway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There are many of us out there, obviously, but they're not being invited into the White House the way an Omarosa or the way Kanye West is.
Yes.
And that's for a reason.
Do you think, Alina, also that Kanye West he was an Obama. I mean, do you remember seeing Kanye and Beyonce with the Obamas?
Correct.
So do we think that he has really had an authentic about face and does legitimately support Trump, or is this all for the show and to put him out there in the political arena?
Right.
What is your opinion?
I don't think it's all for show. I think it was very clear watching that train wreck that was, and I'm not a doctor, but it was somebody who was having a manic episode.
Troubling.
It was, and to me it said more about the president and the White House that would put somebody on display like that and exploit their illness. I think in his head it all makes sense, and I get what he's saying. We need to listen to each other and love each other because we're all one country.
Yes.
But it's getting mixed up in all the other things that he's saying that is not productive to the Black community, and not productive to the American community or the world community. And Trump is exploiting that, and I think also right-wing media is. Before Donald Trump, actually, if you remember back to when Taylor Swift won her MTV, I think it was Music Award, and Kanye came up and did his whole rant.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish. I actually have an excerpt from a 2009 MTV News. It was like the day after.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's put that up if we can.
Okay. Yes,
because
please.
Donald Trump did not have very nice things to say about Kanye.
Really?
Yes. So Trump said West's actions were disgusting and called for a boycott of all things Kanye related. Wow. So this kind of thing doesn't happen again. The Donald also apparently wasn't buying the argument that West jumped in front of Beyonce's honor when the rant about single ladies put a ring on it should have won for best female video. Quote, he couldn't care less about Beyonce. It was grandstanding to get attention. So it's just so funny how, when it fits his narrative, he'll invite him to the White House, he'll do this, that, and the other, and then when it doesn't...
I'm going to jump on that bandwagon and agree with you to say, actually, that's quintessential Trump.
Yeah.
Do you ever see on Twitter where someone says there's a tweet for everything?
Yes.
And what will happen is our president will tweet something today. And what someone will do is go back a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago and find a tweet indicating exactly the opposite of what he just tweeted.
He said.
So he's consistently contradictory. He consistently has double standards all the time. Many of the things that he claimed that Obama should not do, he's
doing.
Right. And he had in the past has said glowing things about Taylor Swift. Now he's saying, I'll listen to her 25% less.
25%?
Yeah.
It's like 25%.
No, he said, I like her music about 25% less.
I don't like someone's music 25%. I mean, so it's nonsense and foolishness, but this is what our alternative reality has become under this administration. We have so many, I've never seen that before. This is the first. This is a different reality. That's what we're living in right now.
Well, to digress for 1 second, because now the tweets about his about face, you know what it just made me think of? Do you remember when Trump was obsessed with the Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson relationship? God. It just made me think of that. He stayed on that, like every beat of it, and then kept saying like, Rob Pattinson should not take her. It was like, nothing like I've ever...
It was almost like he was in an Entertainment Tonight newsroom on some type of alias. Like, wait a minute, are you running the Trump empire, or are you working for Entertainment Tonight now? It was very bizarre.
It was bizarre.
Very bizarre.
It just shows you how he still watches the same amount of TV during the day, whether he was running the Trump organization or running the nation.
Right. Well, then another thing is, too, it's like people forget, remember, he was a reality star.
Right.
As much as the right wing says, we hate those leftist, coastal elite people, the reality is you have one in the White House.
You have one in the White House, and the interesting thing, if you when you talk to the upper echelon, like New York the thing about Trump, though, there was always this, like, if you worked in, like, you were an entrepreneur within the business community, you knew that he actually wasn't, like, this great business person that the American...
His ghostwriter talked about that. Tony Schwartz, who wrote... Well, he's not a ghostwriter anymore. He's come out. But he basically wrote The Art of the Deal. And he specifically talks, or says, or alleges at least, that Trump never wrote one word.
No.
And that he followed him for many days to write the book. And he talks about what his day was like, how it was so hard to keep his concentration. It was as though he had ADD. He doesn't know that he has it, but he's just saying he acted as though he had ADD. And it was just very bizarre. So a lot of people have said, you know, you have to cut stuff out almost like a coloring book and kind of circle the stuff that's important and highlight it, you know.
Boil it down. To the 3 bullets for each subject.
One
it's
thing
troubling.
that I did want to catch on from you, what you said, I think it's very interesting how people on a certain network, i.e. Fox News.
We can say it, Alina. Fox News.
You know, tell other celebrities when they come out with their opinion on politics.
You are absolutely right on the money.
You need to shut up and dribble. You need to shut up and sing. You need to shut up and act, because who asked for your opinion? Yet when one person who is toting their line and saying their talking points, who is not a part of, quote unquote, their normal community, is saying it, then all of a sudden it's okay.
Oh, yeah. I've seen many celebrities come on. I mean, I think one of their favorites is like a Chuck Norris. They obviously love James Wood.
Clint Eastwood.
Now Kanye West is a member of the family.
It's a member of the family.
He's in the inner circle. Come on in, Kanye.
Come on in, Kanye.
Now, today he is.
Well, the interesting thing is that we're going to get to that story later, because the Tucker Carlson stuff this week, that was insane with the body. And then there was also the guy that was on about, which you mentioned Taylor Swift, and we're going to get into her whole but they were basically... all of a sudden, like, I really think she should have stayed. I liked her when she was quiet. But then in the same other breath, he's saying how he supports Kanye West. Whole thing. So how do you you're conflating these two?
And it's not only that, it's hypocritical, because they love those celebrities and they say they don't need their support. But you invite Kanye inside the White House to give him a platform.
And Kid Rock.
And Kid Rock. And not only that, they've had one of their other Republican supporters, an African-American woman by the name of Candace Owens, who went out to, I think, Calabasas, and actually went to Kanye West's home. And then they invited him. So it's the right celebrity speaking the right message that gets the attention that they support. Now, remember, you guys don't forget that just years ago, Fox was saying no rapper should be in the White House. Do you remember when they had a problem when Barack Obama bought Common, because they said, oh, you know, his record and the type of things that he raps around, and it's degradation to women, and it's curse words, it's not family value, and those people do not belong in the White House. And then you have Kanye, and I'm like, so you haven't listened to any of his music, I'm assuming.
And he dropped an F-bomb.
I mean, the hypocrisy is just so thick.
We could go on and on.
Well, did you? That was funny in the skit, though, when in Trump's head he was going whoopity-poop. But you almost think that is like Trump, like just off on another, like, you know. Okay, so I will say this, though. Observationally, though, when you said the thing about them taking advantage of him, I thought that Trump visibly looked like he thought like Kanye was on Hint. Like, was that just me?
No.
Because you know, if the level of insanity for Trump to think something's crazy, then you know you're like, you're like.
My younger cousin says all the time, crazy recognize crazy.
Sure do.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't know if that was the thing, because he really was unhinged. But here's the thing. You knew that. Kanye has said that he suffers or has been diagnosed with being a bipolar person. So you knew what you were getting, and yet you still let it happen.
Right in the White House.
Right in the White House.
So when you think about this administration, in like the first 2 years, he's had Kim Kardashian to the White House. He's had Kanye West to the White House. He said, I mean, it's just... Kid Rock.
Ted Nugent.
It's just... Oh, my God. So, moving on. I mean, we could talk about Kanye all day. I think...
Ooh, he deserves a whole chapter. You're right.
I don't know where this is going, though, because I feel...
I just hope he gets help.
Yeah.
I just hope he gets back on his...
Actually, one more question. Do you think that this is... I hence to say this because I think that Kanye is an actual legit, like an artist with a real career built on talent. Do you think he's ruining Kim's brand?
They're ruining each other. I think he's definitely ruining his brand. The Kanye West that made Gold Diggers, Jesus Walks, and a number of other top 10 hits that sold a lot of songs, a lot of records, that people really admired his craftsmanship as an artist.
I mean,
I think that people aren't talking about that.
Yes.
And that the recent music isn't really indicative of his best, and that's a problem, because that really will mess with his legacy and his image long term, and I don't think he understands that now. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the mental illness, or if there's a lot of other people around, or there could be so many different things, happening.
Yeah, that's the good point that I say. Like whenever music artists specifically, because music is so powerful, that any person in music who falls down is always one hit away from a comeback. Because even when Britney had 2007 and Bieber had whatever year it was, more of it, I was like, they're gonna come back. I always stood by that fact that I knew they'd come back, because
Demi Lovato too.
Demi Lovato, So do you believe that there's redemption down the line with Kanye?
Here's the problem: the musicians that really are great, lyricists and writers, and they're the best producers with the best beats and whatnot, do they want to work with him? Because he is mighty, but not mighty alone.
Yes.
He had some great people that he collaborated with. The problem is his antics have isolated him from many people in that R&B and hip hop community that he could do some excellent collaborations with. You've got T.I. coming out against him. You've got John Legend coming out against him. You've got P. Diddy coming out against him.
Yes.
Before you know it,
Snoop.
Snoop.
So
who do you have for him?
Yes, I loved Snoop's when Snoop's spoke out about it. It was true, but then they since had like a pot made a. But it's always this flip flop game of someone comes out against them, and then the next thing it's they're hugging and making up, but you're but he's still acting the same way.
I think they all realize that he has a mental illness. They'll come out and speak on it because it's important. It's important for people to hear that what he's saying is not okay. But at the end of the day, I do think they are friends, and they'll kind of be there for him.
I thought that Pete Davidson last week on SNL though was the best vessel. His message to him, to me, spoke straight from the heart in parts where it was I'm also mentally ill. This is not funny. You should take the meds. But then it was injected with humor. But this is a serious. Right now, people are still going, "Oh my God, did you see him in the White House?" But to me, I could keep going. Where's this car? This is this car? This is gonna.
Where's it going?
Where's it going?
It's really sad. Well, I started to know it was more the mental illness when I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And Jimmy asked him, you said years ago, we all remember, he famously said that President Bush does not like black people. You remember that?
I remember that.
During the telethon.
During the
And he says, well, I want to ask you the question, what makes you think that our current president, President Trump, likes black people?
Yeah.
What has he done specifically?
Did he? What was his answer?
It was a gap.
Yeah,
he said,
it was silent.
He said, you know what?
Had to go to
I'm not going to pressure you. Let me go to a commercial so I can allow you to gather your thoughts.
Oh, you just broke nose me. I missed that.
Yeah. He was on it.
That was Kimmel this week?
That wasn't Kimmel this week.
It was
about a month ago.
A month ago?
But
he couldn't answer the question?
He could not answer the question. It was silent. So Kimmel said, you know what? Let me go to a commercial and give you some time to gather your thoughts.
Yeah.
But what I feel like, if you're going to wear the hat, and you're going to say that the hat makes you feel like Superman, and the things that he's doing for this country are monumental, then you should be able to give me the top 3 things. If you love somebody that you support him that much, I could tell you why I was voting for someone. The fact that he couldn't really illustrate 3 great things, it made me think, is this a gimmick?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because most people can support someone and say, "Oh, I like the fact that they like this or they support that." He didn't come up with any of that, and that was a little bit alarming for me, at least.
Troubling. Troubling.
Yeah, definitely.
So segueing into more Hollywood crossover politics then from the Kanye stuff, Taylor Swift you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so by the way, Taylor Swift, I had come very late to the party on becoming a fan.
You're never late to the party, Joseph.
You are never
late to the party.
Late.
Never late to. So I even went to see her in concert years ago, and I never jumped on. And my biggest issue was she didn't use, because I am actually of the media that wants celebrities to be able to.
Right.
You get to use your platform.
Absolutely.
There are people in America, freedom of speech. They just have a bigger megaphone than other people.
Yeah.
So the fact that any journalist is saying that celebrities are not allowed to talk about politics, to me
According
is
to
insane.
Who? Yeah.
It's just that's
But what I find troubling is, All journalists do that. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're a journalist. You work for ABC, CBS, or NBC. How many times do they say, can you speak for the Cancer Research Fund? Can you speak for the American Blood Association? Can you speak for, American Heart Association? Why?
Yes.
Sometimes they'll say, because I had a relative that was affected by it, and I want that to be my platform. Nobody has a problem with that.
No, exactly.
No one has a problem with that. They understand why you're doing it, and you're using your status as a international journalist or national journalist to put a message out there.
Exactly.
So how is that different?
It's not different. So, yeah, you should tell Fox News that.
Yeah, I know.
So Taylor Swift finally broke her silence. Why did I use that phrase? Strike that phrase. Sorry. Taylor Swift used her platform for the first time and to get political. Okay, so she writes this post. Do you have it, Alina?
Yes,
do we have it?
I
Can we
do.
just bring it up? Just give us a little taste of it. This is going back, by the way. This is feeling a little, but there's a development that I wanted to talk about because I have to.
Right. So Taylor Swift pretty much said, "Women Act," which attempts to protect. Sorry, I have the bottom part, but for the most part, she just said that she believes, people should go out and vote. She said, please educate yourself on the candidates running in your state and vote on who most closely represents your values. For a lot of us, we may never find a candidate in our party with whom we agree 100% on every issue, but we still have to vote anyways. So many intelligent, thoughtful, self-possessed people have turned 18 in the past 2 years and now have the right and privilege to make their vote count. But first, you need to register. And she goes on, to say, please register to vote. But pretty much she came out saying that she is not voting for Marsha Blackburn, who is running for Senate in Tennessee, because of all of her policies just alarm Taylor. She's against the Women's Act. She believes, gay people shouldn't have the right to marry. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was so elated when Taylor did this, right? Because this was her only thing that I was waiting for it to be a full-fledged, now I'm full on. I love her music.
She's woken me up.
Yeah,
Are you a Swiftie now? Are you
I'm totally a Swiftie now. I am a Swiftie.
T Swift will love that.
Yeah, right. So this is what Fox News. So this, and by the way, what's Taylor? 25, 24? I mean,
yeah,
still a young celebrity. It's still growing, still
She's still a kid to me, but I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Legally, she's an adult.
They focused. There was this guy named Turning Point USA Chief Charlie Kirk was on
Fox and
Friends,
yeah.
And he focused on the fact that he didn't believe that Taylor Swift penned her Instagram post. Okay. There's so many things wrong with this. I don't know where to start, Charlie Kirk. But it's kind of like, A, did he not read her Apple? This girl, if she has not demonstrated that she is an intelligent girl, you just have to listen to an interview with her of her articulating herself in actual spoken interviews.
The fact that she writes all her songs.
And all her songs. It's just but anyway, even if, pretend for a second she did have advisors that helped clean it up.
Right.
This is my thoughts. This is what I want to focus on. It doesn't even matter. So then he goes on to further say how she didn't probably write it, and he just wished she'd stick to music.
Of course.
And then proceeds to support the Kanye West White House visit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where do you reconcile that? And how do Fox... I feel bad for Fox news producers who need to put food on the table, so they necessarily maybe can't quit their job and are looking at this as it takes place on camera and going, we really have to this is insanity. They should have Sienna's in practice, the insanity check department should be there.
No, I agree with you 1,000 million 10,000 million a percent,
yes.
Because it's just foolish. Number one, Taylor Swift has always indicated she's highly thoughtful.
Yes.
She's very smart. She's very strategic.
Yes.
Very strategic.
Yes.
So this falls in line. And even if she did not write the Instagram post, the bigger issue is if someone else wrote it, she allowed them to use her Instagram to post it. Therefore, she supports that stance. And that's the bigger issue, that she's taking an opinion and a stance and she's letting the world know. Even though she runs the risk of it possibly ruining, tarnishing, or having backlash against her brand. She's willing to step out there and do that. And a lot of people in her field who's touring, who's out there making a lot of money, who she knows a lot of her supporters are in the what they said, the flyover states. She's from Nashville. That's a huge risk, and yet she was able to do it no matter what. So.
And that's what people that maybe don't know the ins and outs of like Taylor sells like records and still breaks like records in a day and age where even just as big artists can't sell those kind of records because her majority of her fan base comes from like you said, red states. So
they love her.
She runs a way bigger risk, like by alienating.
Much bigger, I think, because a lot of the other bigger artists, whether it's J-Lo or Beyonce, they assume that most of their fan base are on the coastal side.
Exactly.
That are leftists already, that may already be partly Democrats.
Exactly.
But I think Taylor's brand, a lot of them are the same people who go to country music concerts.
A lot of them are actually people who voted for Trump. I mean, like, let's be honest with it. Not necessarily, but like kids of those kind of Trump voters. I mean, and she was country for how long before she really made this transition to, pop.
Speaking of the Taylor, there was an article by CNBC, and they didn't mention Taylor, but what they talked about is whether or not any celebrity really can ruin their brand when you're that big. And later some people commented that, within 24 hours after she posted on Instagram, Vote.org saw a spike in the number of people, millennials.
It was actually...
you got the percentage.
Yeah, I got the... So apparently after that Vote.org, she 400,000 people registered to vote.
And that was like the hours preceding it, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was right.
Let's pray they vote, though, because there was an NBC News report this week, alarmingly enough, on MSNBC that went to like the Orange County in California, which you would think, okay, it's California, and they were interviewing all of the what's his name, Jacob Sobroff.
I saw that.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about.
I was cringing.
It was like an outer limit.
Yeah,
it was like an outer limit experience. I know exactly.
So you saw the piece. So just
to
give viewers just a piece of this for a second. He went to like a bus stop where all these college kids were at, and he's going, who here's voting? There's like 50 college kids standing there, and he's going, hey, I'm with NBC News. Who here's voting? No hands. Finally, he finds one hand. And then when they're talking to the girl and her friend, he's like, hey, I think we should vote. I know, but we're probably not that reliable. He's like, do you know what's on the line here? Like, do you understand? And it was like, when you see that in California, it like makes me think, oh my God.
Right.
Like, it was
that's what I think people on the other side are banking on.
Yes.
They're hoping that's the case. That's why having someone as smart and impressionable and as powerful as a Taylor Swift taking a stance is threatening. I think
it's, she has 112 million followers on her Instagram, right? This is a very smart girl. This is the one artist who didn't put her music on streaming services and told her fans to buy actual albums, and they did it. So I think these people that have registered to vote are actually going to turn into actual votes as well.
Well, good, because Marsha Blackburn, just if you know anything about politics, I couldn't be more thrilled if she loses that seat. Thank you, Taylor.
No, Taylor is not going to be hurt by this. I mean, she's got the highest grossing tour, I think, by a female artist, and she surpassed Whitney Houston in terms of AMA awards this past week. Right, so she's on a roll. This is the best of Taylor Swift this year.
But
it would be hard to knock her down.
I'm so glad, too, after that whole thing, because, that was, anyway, we'll digress. But anyway, Charlie Kirk, is it? It's like, I need to start doing a segment where I just go directly at Charlie Kirk needs to take 3 seats on this one. Because who cares who wrote it? And even if she didn't write the whole thing, which I believe she wrote it.
I think she did. Right.
She's going to look at it. You think she's going to put it up? I don't need to see it.
Who do you want to talk to more? Charlie Kirk or Tucker Carlson?
Oh God,
it's a
great
tie.
segue. Thank you.
It's a tie.
Okay, so Tucker Carlson. This is getting to our next story. Tucker Carlson this week actually he had a feminist guest. I just want to grab her name, so I'm on the show talking about toxic masculinity. And that was the subject of the debate they were having in the context of all this Brett Kavanaugh stuff. And he's trying to use, which I don't know where this apple-orange comparison, like who told, like what producer thought this was like a good way to go. He was trying to say, but how could you say here's what he's saying. You want to restate that he's saying that John Mayer's Body is a Wonderland lyric should also be considered, don't you consider that toxic masculinity, and that should be like shunned in the context of all this to the feminists? And she goes, no, I don't. She goes, don't you consider that toxic masculinity? And here's was her response, because she basically said, he's like reading lyrics from the song. It was like really obnoxious. And she goes, no, it isn't. She said, wait, her name is, I'm so sorry. Carlson's guest described as feminist. I don't want to butcher her name, but it's Anousheh Hossein.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. But it's basically said, no, it isn't. Toxic masculinity isn't about saying your body's the one. It's actually about men being violent towards women. And that song was written for his girlfriend at the time.
Right.
He's conflating like Brett Kavanaugh, who's going up for the SCOTUS, with lyrics of a music artist. Like, we have artistic liberties and stuff. Like, but this was actually like Tucker Carlson at any point. He was somewhat of a journalist at some point, right?
Yeah.
Way
back in the day. Could we just get that Tucker back?
The thing is, I feel like when you have a big megaphone at Fox, and anybody who's in that position, whether it used to be Bill O'Reilly, whether it was Megyn Kelly, now we've got Tucker Carlson, sometimes it's Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's written in the contract that
they have
you need to do this or else your show might be cut by the end of the month.
Right.
Because they all come to the point where they say or do something that you know is getting like a Twitter alert. And you're like, oh God,
I was
what did
just
they
going to
this time?
say.
You know, it's like, it's happened again.
There
You
must
know,
be like 8 outrageous viral moments that
Yeah.
people will think you're nuts,
Right.
at least per year or something
Right.
in the
No,
contract.
that's absolutely the case. And
Oh my God.
it's frustrating, but what can you say? It's the way of the world. It's what's
Yeah.
coming out. I mean, Fox and Friends says some goofy stuff too. You know,
Yes.
I can go on and on about stuff they said about news events, and I'm like, where are you getting this? I mean, even our president, remember, was saying during the Kavanaugh hearings that he believed that some of those women who were confronting certain Congress people or senators,
paid.
they were paid. He suggested that they actually were paid operatives, and there's been no evidence that those women who came forward were paid by any organization.
No.
And if that's the case, why hasn't any media
uncovered it?
This vast conspiracy? It's just, it's frustrating, and I think it's a little bit dangerous. But that kind of stuff just goes by the wayside. People say, oh,
Run of the mill over there.
It really is. Okay, so moving on from Fox News to Taylor's friend. Alina, tell audience our next story, Selena Gomez this week.
Yeah, so Selena Gomez is once again in a treatment facility. She entered it for an undisclosed medical condition.
Right.
We do know that she has lupus, and apparently her white cell count was really, really low. She also suffers or battles depression and anxiety. So I think it was a combination of all of that, but she was able to check herself into a treatment center.
So she just, didn't you say earlier it was like mental? Did she actually check in? Was this like almost like the same week? Was this?
This was around, this was this last week. I think it was the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah.
In Trump years, every day seems like a year. So I
know.
Isn't it hilarious?
And it feels like we aged
Time is
like
it's
5
like
years.
Kanye West now. We're like, time is just a figure of whatever.
Exactly. It was around this early last week. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Exactly. But she had taken a break. She took a break from Instagram and social media starting, I believe, at the end of September. It was like around September 24th. She was really, really active. And then all of a sudden, she just kind of fell off and said she's taking a break. And she has been very vocal about social media and the role it plays in her depression and anxiety because, the negative comments and the likes and all of that. I mean,
I couldn't even imagine on that scale.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the way that social media is, there's more trolls than positive. Like,
Correct.
Right.
people are going to take time, sadly, to tell you what they don't like than to take, because it's like it's like a no news, good news almost thing. Like if you love something, you're not really like, I love that. Well, but then again, some people, but they're more likely to go.
Oh, yes.
They're incensed by something. They're going to take that time out of their
I
schedule.
don't get.
I don't
never
get it either.
left like a negative comment, a thumbs up. Like to me, it's just like if I don't like something, I'm gonna keep it
You're
moving.
just going to keep it moving.
I always thought that was weird too. When I used to see people, I've been a journalist before I even got into entertainment news, and I would hear people that would call the station to say, I can't believe those earrings. They don't look great on her. It's not her color or that shirt. It's not. She's a big girl for her to be wearing sleeveless
like
stuff.
they have
When you were on air, they would say things like that.
And say either to me or to other anchors that were on the air, and I just happened to be the person that would pick up the phone at the time. And they would say not just to me but to them, and we'd say, I just never was the type of person that would do that when I was growing up. Like if I turn on something and I don't like your network or your show,
Yes.
I just don't watch it
You
anymore.
just don't watch it.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, as journalists, I think like for Twitter, I will state an opinion that is based in like the essence. Like if another journalist is saying opinions and I want to sort of factually sort of check it back.
Right.
Well, that really, I don't really agree with that, and this is why.
Right.
But there's like a mean-spirited comment just for the sake of like a mean. I don't
Yeah,
get
I'm more
that.
for accuracy. You know, if I see somebody put something out and I say, whoa, slow down. I don't know if you saw the other.
Right.
You know, there was an interview in another network you didn't get. Just play it fair. But I'm not attacking their integrity.
Right.
I'm not attacking the way they look. That's just so petty. And a lot of times too, it's like, what's going on with your life? That's more of a reflection of where you are.
Where you are.
It's not a reflection on me.
It does. It says more.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really sad. People make those comments and they don't know how the other person or what battles they're dealing with on the other end.
Right.
And like we see with Selena or even with Demi, who has, Demi Lovato, who also has a mental illness and whatnot. I mean, social media is a big part of what they have to do.
I think it's harder though when they're younger.
Yeah.
Because if we're older, you can let some of that stuff roll off you. But a lot of them are growing up like that, and it's so hard to be. I think even the ages between 15 and 25, and even up to 30. Hearing that constantly, you're out and you don't look perfect. Your hair is out of place. It's like people suggest, well, are you pregnant? Because your stomach looked bigger. It's
what's actually funny is Selena doesn't have the password to her Instagram account. She goes to it through her phone, she's told people. Or through her friend's phone. So she, that's how I think how she kind of is able to keep her distance sometimes.
She will just glance at it, but she doesn't interact with it.
She doesn't have it on her phone. She says all that she has is like a brain app, an app that like is games for your brain. So she doesn't have like the filtering apps or anything like that. So when she posts a picture, she uses somebody else's phone.
Got it.
Yeah.
That might be the way to.
Maybe
other celebrities should follow her lead.
Seriously.
I think that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
It's an overwhelming. Yeah. And also these girls. And this is not like it's anything about Disney. It's just that these are all people that started very young.
Correct.
They just started very. I think you're growing, and I think like to have mental illness and then be like sort of tossed into the Hollywood industry so early. It's like you barely have time to kind of just develop normally, and then plus the mental illness. I really pray for all of them. It breaks my heart.
It's tough. They're real people. They're
real
young people. They're struggling.
Nice girls too.
Very nice. Very nice girls. Yeah.
Okay, well we're praying for her.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Prayers up.
Okay, so we can move on because we're running. We ran some. We were so talking about Kanye so much. Do we either want to finish up with Melania being Melania, or do we want to talk about disgraced producer James Gunn getting maybe hired by Warner Brothers? I'll let you two pick.
Well, I'm always a be best person.
Okay, Melania it is.
When you toss your coin, it's always got to rise up on be best.
Be best. Okay, so for viewers, if anyone caught, Melania Trump went on her first. Oh my God.
ABC.
I'm here for it.
She went for her first overseas trip as First Lady solo.
Yep.
She went to, coincidentally, all the countries that her husband said were S-hole countries.
Correct.
Which I kind of love that part. But then she proceeded to get there and wear clothes that were like...
Colonial-like?
Colonial-like. So there's just always something. Like the Trumps they get one thing right and then there's like 10, they take 10 steps back. So anyway, after she did a sit-down interview with 2020, and it was called the title alone is just makes me giggle. Being Melania. Like she's this embattled person coming. I'm just like, it must be really tough, in the Trump. Anyway, what did you think? Just give me your highlights and what stuck out to you most about this interview.
Let me tell you
There's
something.
so much.
The one thing that I walked away with that really did shock me, not a lot shocks me anymore after having Trump in the White House for 2 years.
Yeah.
The one thing that shocked me was when she said she believes she's the most bullied person ever. And then the correspondent said, really?
Really?
He was caught off guard. He goes, what? He goes, really? She goes, and then she changed it. She said, well, one of the most bullied.
One of the most.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is the same person whose husband said that Barack Obama's birth certificate is phonier than like a $3 bill.
She said that herself.
But yet now she thinks as the first lady that she is the most bullied person in the world, and felt that way until he kind of called her on it. And then she said, well, one of the most bullied.
One of the most bullied.
Yeah.
I go back and forth. I have like this thing with Melania where part of me on one day feels sympathy in the fact that she married this man, and he's a rich businessman.
Correct.
She signed up to be like a rich kept, whatever model, former model
Stay-at-home
wife,
mom.
stay at home.
Right.
But she didn't sign up to be the first lady.
No.
She kind of fell into. So there's a part of me that does say like she's got to be living to a certain level in like this personal hell, and I feel for her. Then there's this other part where it's just like she says these things, and you have to think like, are you really thinking this, or were you like? So I struggle with that. So the question I want to ask you both as women, where did you lay with the comments she made about Me Too? That's most important. I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go first. I was going to. You can go ahead if you want to go first.
I don't care. I don't care.
KJ, go. And then Alina.
Okay, the thing that was interesting is she started off well saying, women have to believe, be believed. She supports women. She always stands by women. But then she says, you need concrete evidence. You need solid evidence. But she didn't really expand as to what kind of evidence would move you, and give me a particular case where you see someone bringing something forward and you were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the evidence just wasn't there.
Yes.
It's all very cloudy. It's like Jell-O trying to stick it to a wall.
Yes.
And I just don't understand it, especially when her husband's administration has come out and been so vocal about Brett Kavanaugh and the women who have come forward and accuse him. And for her to not be able to expand on it, I almost would rather have had her say, I'm not going to make an opinion about that. I'm not going to speak.
Yes.
Rather than to say what she said, which offered no context and no nuance.
Yes, Alina, what do you think?
I pretty much feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
When I first saw her say, well, women should be believed, then she almost contradicts herself with, but there has to be hardcore evidence. Okay, in what world is every rape taped or every sexual assault taped?
I know.
Or there be significant evidence.
Or audio recording.
Exactly. Like that just does not happen. So you're saying that nobody, pretty much, unless they have that hardcore evidence, should come forward and say anything because, you know what, sweetie, too bad. You don't have the evidence.
Correct.
It's just, it's like 5 steps backwards for women and for people.
Not only that, too, which scares me is that what she's saying is don't come forward unless you do have the evidence. So I think people who have been survivors and who are have been attacked are thinking to themselves, something has happened to me, and now they have to think,
how can I get the evidence?
How can I get the evidence? Instead of thinking, let me go out there, tell my truth, let me tell what happened so we can make sure we get justice and get this person off the street before they hurt or injure some other person out there.
Yes.
That's what she wants them to think, and I think it's just a dangerous
I think she did herself a
looking at it.
disservice where I think she should have steered clear of it more or something, because it was almost like she was visiting like the countries, and I felt like she was doing,
trying to do well.
Yeah, trying to do well, and then it's just like
Except her outfits.
Yeah.
Except for that tiny.
She always likes to send
Melanie.
a message, but not send a message. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a very distinct message.
A message, but
then.
not a message, but kind of a message if you know what the message is.
Right. If you're into the message, that's the message.
That's the message.
Yeah.
I liked the journalist reactions though, because as a journalist, it's like you can relate to like what was going through his head. Like, wait, so William Gates said you're the most bullied, but anyway.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't believe it too. And then she said, well, one of the most, and her husband is known for bullying Barack Obama so much that he had to actually find another copy of his birth certificate to say, here you go.
Here you go.
Collective
world
sigh.
Collective sigh, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to get there.
Alina, can you please tell listeners and viewers where they can find us?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can listen to our great voices, see our great faces on AfterBuzz TV's YouTube. You can also subscribe to Meet the Hollywood Press on Apple Podcasts. Rate us, comment, let us know what you think. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Meet the Hollywood Press, and on Twitter at Meet the HWD Press.
Because I had to throw a curveball there. No, it was just someone took our name, and I'm trying to wrestle it back from Twitter. If you're listening, I need that back. I need that name back. I got Meet the Hollywood Press on all the platforms except for Twitter. And someone owns it. I'm tracing it back. I'm on the case.
You should have that.
I should have that, right?
For sure.
KJ, thank you for coming by. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
I love coming by.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll have you back for sure. And next week, I'm going to be reuniting with one of my former editors that we worked together on many things, so I'm very excited. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you both. Come back next week for a new episode of Meet the Hollywood Press.
Thank you.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.